Look, you know exactly what's been holding you back. It's not luck. It's not the people around you. It's not the world working against you. It's the version of you that keeps making the same excuses, choosing the same distractions, and allowing fear to run the show. The weak version of you tells you tomorrow is a better day to start. It tells you it's okay, no one's watching, you can take it easy. It keeps you stuck in your own head, playing small, living life on autopilot, and if you don't kill that version of you, it will keep winning. The weak version of you finds comfort in staying the same. It craves ease, avoids challenges, and seeks familiarity. It tells you that pushing beyond what feels good is unnecessary, that you can stay in your current state and still somehow achieve success. But that's a lie. Growth never happens in comfort. Comfort is a trap, a prison disguised as safety. It makes you believe that where you are is good enough, that you don't need to push harder, that you don't need to change. And that's exactly why the weak version of you must be destroyed. Think about it. Every great achievement in your life has come from a moment of discomfort. Every lesson you've learned, every skill you've developed, every milestone you've hit, it all happened because you stepped into the unknown. But the weak version of you fights against that. It whispers that change is too hard, that failure is too painful, that you should just stay where you are. And if you listen, you will stay exactly where you are for years. But here's the thing, nothing in nature stays the same. Everything is either growing or dying. Trees grow taller or they wither. Muscles get stronger or they deteriorate. And you are either becoming a stronger version of yourself or you are letting the weaker version take over. There is no in between. So how do you kill the weak version of you? You break out of the comfort zone that keeps it alive. That means doing things that scare you, things that challenge you, things that make you question if you're good enough. The moment you start pushing past what feels easy is the moment you take control. Because every time you challenge yourself, every time you choose discomfort over ease, the weak version of you shrinks. Imagine this. You wake up every day and you do one thing that makes you uncomfortable. Maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's speaking up when you'd rather stay quiet. Maybe it's taking a risk on something you've been afraid of. Every day you take a small step outside of what feels safe. Do you know what happens after a week, after a month, after a year? You become unstoppable. You become someone who is no longer afraid of the things that once held you back. But if you refuse to step outside of that comfort zone, you will remain the same. The weak version of you will continue to win. You'll keep making the same excuses, keep falling into the same patterns, keep wondering why things aren't changing. And one day you'll wake up and realize that years have passed and you are still in the exact same place. That's the cost of comfort. So the question is, are you willing to be uncomfortable? Are you willing to do what most people won't? Because the truth is, most people will never push themselves. Most people will live their entire lives inside their comfort zone, making excuses, waiting for motivation, convincing themselves that they have time. But you are not most people. You are capable of so much more. If you want to become the strongest version of yourself, you need to start acting like it. You need to start making decisions based on who you want to become, not based on what feels good right now. That means waking up when you say you will. That means showing up even when you don't feel like it. That means doing the work when no one is watching, when no one is cheering you on, when it feels like no one cares. This is not about anyone else. This is about you versus you. It's about choosing to be better than you were yesterday. It's about refusing to let the weak version of you control your life. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for life to magically change. The only way forward is through discomfort. The only way to become who you are meant to be is to destroy the version of you that is holding you back. And the only person who can do that is you. The stories you tell yourself are shaping your reality. Every single thought that runs through your mind is either building you up or tearing you down. And most of the time, we don't even realize the damage we're doing to ourselves because we've been telling the same story for so long that it feels like the truth. You wake up every day with a script running in your head. Maybe it's telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you don't have what it takes. Maybe it's reminding you of every mistake you've made, every failure, every time you've fallen short. And because you've heard this voice for years, you believe it. You accept it as fact. But here's the reality. That voice, it's lying to you. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not the opinions of others. The only thing that defines you is the story you choose to tell yourself. Think about it. Two people can go through the exact same experience and come out with completely different perspectives. One person fails at something and decides they're a failure. They let that single moment define them. They stop trying. They give up on themselves. But another person fails and tells themselves, this is a lesson. This is part of the process. I will grow from this. And because of that mindset, they get back up. They push forward. They succeed. Same situation, different story. Your mind is your most powerful weapon, and you're either using it to win or letting it defeat you. And if you want to kill the weak version of you, if you want to step into the person you are truly meant to be, you have to take control of that inner dialogue. So here's what you need to do. First, start paying attention to the words you say to yourself. Catch yourself in the moments where that negative voice creeps in, because most of the time, we don't even question it. It's just background noise running on repeat. But the moment you become aware of it, you gain power over it. Second, challenge that voice. When it tells you that you're not good enough, ask yourself, where's the proof? Because I guarantee you there is none. Your brain is wired to focus on the negative, to remember the failures more than the wins. But that doesn't mean the negative thoughts are true. It just means you've been feeding them for too long. And third, replace the lies with truth. Start speaking to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love. If your best friend came to you and said, I don't think I can do this. I feel like I'm not good enough. Would you agree with them? No. You would remind them of how capable they are. You would remind them of their strength, their resilience, their potential. So why aren't you doing that for yourself? You need to start telling yourself a different story. Instead of, I'm not good enough, tell yourself, I am capable. Instead of, I always fail, tell yourself, every failure is a lesson that makes me stronger. Instead of, I don't deserve success, tell yourself, I am worthy of everything I want in life. At first, it will feel fake. It will feel like you're lying to yourself. That's because you've spent years believing the opposite. But if you repeat something enough times, your brain starts to believe it. This isn't just positive thinking. This is rewiring your mind. This is how you break free from the weak version of you that has been holding you back. And here's the best part. Once you change the story, your actions follow. When you believe you're capable, you start taking action like someone who is capable. When you believe you're worthy, you start making decisions that reflect that worth. And when you believe you are in control of your life, you stop waiting for things to change and start making them change. The weak version of you is built on lies. The strong version of you is built on truth. And the only thing standing between the two is the story you choose to tell yourself. So choose wisely. Discipline is more powerful than motivation. You've heard it before, but do you truly understand what that means? Motivation is fleeting. It's unreliable. Some days you wake up excited, ready to take on the world, ready to chase your goals with everything you've got. Other days, you don't even want to get out of bed. The problem with motivation is that it depends on how you feel in the moment. It's inconsistent. And if you rely on it, you'll never reach your full potential. Think about all the times you were motivated to start something, a workout plan, a business idea, a new habit. In the beginning, you were fired up, full of energy, but after a few days, maybe a week, that fire started to fade. Why? Because motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. And if you're waiting to feel inspired before you take action, you'll spend most of your life waiting. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's waking up early when your bed feels comfortable. It's showing up for your goals when no one is clapping for you. It's making sacrifices when distractions are tempting. Discipline doesn't care about how you feel in the moment. It forces you to act despite your emotions. And that's what separates successful people from everyone else. When you look at the people who achieve great things, athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, It's not motivation that got them there. It's discipline. It's the ability to show up day after day, whether they feel like it or not, because they understand that success isn't built in moments of excitement. It's built in the daily grind, in the unglamorous moments when no one is watching. Let's break it down further. Imagine you set a goal to get in the best shape of your life. The first week, you're excited. You plan your meals. You hit the gym. You feel unstoppable. Then life happens. You're tired. Work is stressful. Your friends invite you out for pizza. This is the moment that separates disciplined people from those who rely on motivation. The disciplined person goes to the gym anyway. They stick to their plan even when it's hard. The person who relies on motivation, they make an excuse. They say, I'll start again tomorrow. And before they know it, weeks have passed and they're back where they started. And this doesn't just apply to fitness. It applies to every area of life. You want to build a business? You have to work on it consistently, even when it feels like no progress is being made. You want to improve your mindset? You have to practice positive habits every single day, even when negativity tries to pull you back. You want to build wealth? You have to make smart financial decisions, even when spending feels more fun in the moment. Here's the truth. The version of you that accomplishes your biggest goals isn't the version that feels inspired every day. It's the version that is disciplined enough to keep going even when motivation disappears, because it will disappear. There will be days when you don't want to show up. There will be moments when you question if it's even worth it. And in those moments, discipline is what will carry you forward. So how do you build discipline? You start by making a promise to yourself that your feelings will not dictate your actions. You create routines and habits that set you up for success. You remove distractions. You make a decision that no matter how you feel, you will show up for yourself every single day. You don't have to feel like it. You don't have to be in the mood. You just have to do it, because in the end, motivation is nice, but discipline is what changes your life. Your environment is shaping you in ways you don't even realize. Every single day, the people you talk to, the content you consume, and the places you spend your time are reinforcing habits, thoughts, and beliefs, whether they serve you or not. If you are surrounded by negativity, doubt, and mediocrity, guess what happens? You absorb it. It seeps into your mindset, your decisions, and eventually your reality. The weak version of you thrives in that environment because it gives you an excuse. It tells you, well, this is just how life is. Everyone around me is struggling. Everyone complains. So why should I expect more? But here's the truth. The strongest, most unstoppable version of you cannot exist in an environment that drains you. It's impossible. The version of you that is disciplined, confident, and successful requires fuel. And that fuel is the energy, mindset, and habits that come from your surroundings. So take a real honest look at where you are spending your time and who you are spending it with. Are the conversations you're having pushing you forward or keeping you stuck? Are the people around you building you up or pulling you down? Are you in an environment that challenges you, inspires you, and forces you to grow? Or are you just coasting through life, stuck in the same old cycle? Because if your environment is not aligned with who you want to become, you have two choices. You either change the environment or you change yourself to rise above it. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean you need to cut people off overnight or isolate yourself. What it means is that you need to be intentional. You need to guard your energy. If someone is constantly negative, constantly complaining, constantly doubting themselves and others, that energy is contagious. You might not even notice it happening, but over time, it affects you. You start thinking smaller. You start doubting yourself. You start settling for less than you deserve. This is why successful people surround themselves with other successful people. It's not about ego, it's about energy. Being around disciplined, focused, driven individuals forces you to level up. It makes you uncomfortable in the best way possible because it reminds you that you are capable of so much more. And in today's world, you don't even need to be physically surrounded by successful people. The content you consume is part of your environment too. The books you read, the podcasts you listen to, the videos you watch, all of it is shaping you. If you spend hours scrolling through negativity, drama, and mindless distractions, that's what your mind will focus on. But if you spend time learning, growing, and feeding your brain with knowledge and inspiration, your mindset shifts. This is why some people break out of difficult circumstances and create extraordinary lives, because they refuse to let their current environment define them. They seek out knowledge. They find mentors, even if it's through books and videos. They surround themselves with the energy of success, even if their physical surroundings don't support it yet. So if you feel stuck, if you feel like you're not growing, if you feel like something is holding you back, look at your environment first. Because before you can change your life, you have to change what's influencing you every single day. And when you start choosing better influences, when you start putting yourself in spaces that challenge you, everything begins to shift. You are not a product of your circumstances. You are a product of your decisions. And your decision to reshape your environment will determine whether you stay stuck or step into the strongest version of yourself. Pain is the price of reinvention. There is no way around it. If you want to kill the weak version of yourself, you have to be willing to walk through discomfort, face the hard truths, and let go of the parts of your life that no longer serve you. Reinvention is not a simple process. It is not a single moment of realization. It is a journey, and that journey is paved with challenges. When people think about change, they imagine it as an inspiring, uplifting experience. They picture themselves waking up one day with newfound motivation, ready to take on the world. But that's not how it happens. Real transformation starts with pain. It starts when you realize that the life you've been living is no longer enough for you. It starts when you become deeply uncomfortable with where you are and you recognize that if you don't change, nothing in your life will change. Pain is the moment when you look in the mirror and see a person who is not living up to their potential. It is the feeling of frustration when you know you're capable of more, but keep falling back into the same habits. It is the weight of regret when you let another day slip by without taking action. Most people run from this pain. They distract themselves. They numb themselves with entertainment, food, relationships, or substances. They convince themselves that it's not the right time, that things will get better on their own. They avoid discomfort at all costs because they believe that pain is a sign that something is wrong. But here's the truth. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the signal that you are on the edge of something greater. Pain is the alarm clock that wakes you up to the reality that you need to change. It is the pressure that forces you to grow. Think about the times in your life when you have grown the most. It wasn't when everything was easy. It wasn't when you were comfortable. It was when you were pushed to your limits, when you had no choice but to step up and become stronger. Reinvention means facing this pain head on. It means acknowledging the parts of yourself that are holding you back. It means admitting that some of your habits, some of your relationships, and some of your beliefs are keeping you stuck. And then it means making the hard decision to let go. Letting go is one of the hardest things you will ever do. Letting go of old habits that bring temporary comfort. Letting go of people who don't support your growth. Letting go of the version of yourself that you have outgrown. It will feel like loss. It will feel like you're giving up something important. But in reality, you are making space for something greater. The weak version of you wants to hold on. It wants to stay where it's safe, even if that means staying in a life that isn't fulfilling. But the strong version of you knows that growth requires sacrifice. The strong version of you understands that the pain of change is far better than the pain of staying the same. You cannot build a new life while clinging to the old one. You cannot become the strongest version of yourself while holding on to the habits of the weakest version. If you truly want to change, you have to be willing to endure discomfort. You have to be willing to walk through the fire of transformation. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, moments when it feels like you're losing more than you're gaining, moments when you want to turn back and go back to what's familiar. But if you push through, if you keep going, you will come out on the other side as a completely different person. A person who is stronger, more disciplined, more confident, a person who no longer tolerates mediocrity, a person who commands their own life. Most people will never make it through this process. They will stop at the first sign of difficulty. They will tell themselves that change is too hard, that they are not capable, that maybe they are just meant to stay the way they are. But that's not you. You are not most people. You are capable of more. So embrace the pain, embrace the discomfort. Understand that every challenge, every setback, every difficult moment is shaping you into the person you are meant to be. Reinvention is not supposed to be easy, but it will be worth it. Your future self is waiting for you to act now. The version of you that is confident, disciplined, successful, and unshakable is not some distant dream. It is real, it exists, and the only thing standing between you and that person is the choices you make every single day. Every time you hesitate, every time you allow fear to stop you, every time you choose comfort over challenge, you push that version of yourself further away. But the moment you decide to take action, real, intentional, disciplined action, you begin to step into the person you were always meant to become. There's this false belief that transformation happens overnight, that one big breakthrough will change everything. That's not how it works. Reinventing yourself is not about waiting for a perfect moment. It's about taking responsibility for where you are and deciding right now that you are willing to do what it takes to change. Not tomorrow, not when life makes it easy for you, but right now in this very moment. Think about it. Every person you admire, every strong, disciplined, successful individual you look up to, they weren't born that way. They built themselves. They faced the same doubts, the same obstacles, the same internal resistance. The only difference is that they didn't let those things define them. They decided to act anyway. They decided to stop making excuses and start making progress. That's the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Action. And the hard truth is nobody is coming to save you. No one is going to force you to wake up early, to put in the work, to say no to distractions, to push through discomfort. That's on you. You are the only one who can decide to become the strongest version of yourself. And that means killing the weak version of you, the version that is ruled by fear, by doubt, by procrastination, by excuses. The weak version of you loves comfort. It loves the easy way out. It loves instant gratification. But what has that ever given you? Nothing worthwhile comes easy. You know that. The results you want, the life you dream of, they don't happen by accident. They are earned through discipline, through consistency, through showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. And the truth is, this isn't about motivation. Motivation is a trap. It's unreliable. Some days you'll feel inspired, but most days you won't. That's why discipline matters more than motivation. The weak version of you waits for motivation. The strong version of you takes action no matter what. So the real question is, how bad do you want it? Because if you truly want to change, you will. Not by talking about it, not by wishing for it, not by waiting for the right moment, but by doing what needs to be done, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, even when you're tired, overwhelmed, or doubting yourself. Your future self is not built by the things you do once in a while. It is built by the things you do consistently, your habits, your mindset, your daily actions. Those are the things shaping your future, whether you realize it or not. So if you want to become the strongest, most successful version of yourself, you have to start acting like that person today. No more waiting, no more excuses, no more blaming your circumstances. You have everything you need to change your life, but you have to be willing to put in the work. So ask yourself right now, are you ready to kill the weak version of you? The version that settles, the version that lets fear win, the version that keeps waiting for the perfect moment? Because that version of you has had enough time and control. Now it's your turn.